Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Vince and I hope you all have a great day today, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some of the changes that should be made to the pre-existing admin commands, especially the ones that cannot be used by anyone in Jailbreak. Now before I get to on, these are just my suggestions, so please do not assume that they will be releasing in the future. They may not come to the game anytime soon, but hopefully some of them do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So before we continue on, guys, if you guys are new, feel free to subscribe and be sure to leave a like if you really enjoyed the video. And my goal for this year is to hit 1,000, although for this month's goal, I'm trying to hit 900. So if we can hit 900 before the end of January, then I will appreciate all of you. I'll bless you all for that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the first one. The first command is known as the spawn command. The spawn command was introduced ever since the release of admin commands, as well as the introduction of Season 6, or as people call them, Race to the Top. The problem with the spawn command is that if it is usable everyone, the premium garage owners will complain that you can spawn a vehicle anywhere, and you can just break the cooldown since there will be no cooldown when doing that. Now, aside from those negatives, you should still be able to use the command, alright? So before that was made, if you try to spawn any vehicle, it will say that you do not have permission to spawn a vehicle like that. And it will tell you that you don't have permission to run this command, like most of the other commands that I can't use, such as history or, give before the January update. So hopefully they allow that, but also with some limitations. Not just give it to premium garage owners only, but to give it to everyone with some limitations. So that way it just feels better than just like, hey, you can't spawn a vehicle for your admin commands. Now, this will definitely save a lot of the streamers' lives because they could just spawn a vehicle without any issues, am I right? So that is just that, and yeah. Now, when you spawn an unattainable vehicle or a vehicle you do not own, you should not enter it, but rather just spawn beside it. So let me give you guys an example. Let me go ahead and pretend that I will be spawning myself a Camaro. So all I need to do is spawn a Camaro, alright? So I can just use the question mark to be able to detect a random Camaro. Although it's probably a 1 in 60 because there are a lot of vehicles in Jailbreak nowadays. So if I go ahead and use the question mark, then I'll be able to select a random vehicle. But of course, I'm just going to type in Camaro. So as you can see, when I type in the Camaro, then I will automatically spawn the Camaro. And as you can see, I entered it because I spawned it in. So, whoopee. However, there should also be a cooldown so that way you don't abuse this and just spawn I don't know, 1 million torpedoes or 500,000 Bugatti Veyrons, or even 255 Bugatti Chirons at once. But of course, the despawn system will just despawn them anyways. But that's the first command, alright? We have some limitations and all, and aside from those criticism type stuff, the spawn command should be necessarily available to everyone. But let's go on to number 2. So for number 2 is the give command. Now, yes, we are able to use it. However, there are a lot of limitations with the give command. For some odd reason, the give command does not allow players to give themselves items that they technically can get for free, even though you have to get it through different stuff. For example, you can give yourself a glider, but you cannot give yourself a donut. What kind of sense is that? Let me get this straight. You can literally give yourself a force field launcher, but you're telling us that you cannot give ourselves a donut? What? You can't give yourself a donut. It thinks that you don't own it, even though you do own it since it's free. You can, however, give yourself a glider and a rifle as long as you own the boss or the SWAT game pass. So just keep that in mind, alright? But look, you can give yourself a rifle, but you cannot give yourself the SWAT shield. Even though if you own the SWAT game pass, you can't give yourself it, alright? It's weird. Let me get this straight. I know they're trying to prevent cop items from being usable on criminals, but still, it's kind of unnecessary to not allow free items to not be given. I think they only want guns and certain items to be given, alright? I mean, it makes sense if that's the case, but still, I think it's necessary to be able to give yourself every item. But if that was intentional, then only players who own the item will be able to give themselves it, and not just any item they want, because that just breaks the whole purpose, alright? But other than that, let's hope that that gets introduced, because it's kind of awful that you can't give yourself donuts even though you own them, despite the fact you have to get to the donut shop to get donuts, all right? But that's the second one. Number 3, something that I think should be added, although this is not a pre-existing command, the ability to disable damage. Now, basically, this will allow players to be immune to the enemy that they are fighting with. Of course, this is a very big problem with streamers, especially Hello It's VG. The problem is they will actually oof from enemies or opponents when they have like a weapon such as a shotgun or a rifle. Now, basically, there is a way to disable arrests and pit maneuvers, but you still do not have the ability to disable damage from the opponent's team. So there should be a command that allows that. So I don't have an actual name for it, but I'm just going to call it disable damage from opponents. And this will allow you to disable damage from opponents. If that is actually an option in the game, then you can probably thank me for that because I mentioned it. Now, if VG is watching this video, which I don't think he is, but if he is, then hopefully this is something for you. I know you're not the only one encountering this. There are also a certain number of people. Now, basically, this allows you to not take any damage from an opponent, whether that be missiles or guns or punching. Especially punching, because obviously allies can punch other allies. You're not supposed to do that in Jailbreak if that is disabled. So hopefully they do something about that. And yeah. But other than that, you just have to stick with the damage you have to take, but not arrests. So thank goodness that you can disable arrests, but not damage. So hopefully they add that, because streamers can still get damaged by opponents like cops. So let's go on to the last command for today's video. And I have to say, I think this is probably by far the command that we all need in Jailbreak. And no, it's not related to enabling robberies. I'm sorry. This command allows us to pick a bank floor and a jewelry store floor. Now, the reason why I brought those two up is because they're notable for being able to change what kind of floors they have. Bank and jewelry store are the only two robberies with those type of features. Bank specifically has only one, and jewelry store has 2 random floors it can contain. However, I think it's necessary for them to add the ability to change the floor, but only prior to it opening it up. So if it's closed, you should be able to choose a random one. If it's under robbery, you should not be able to do that, because after all, it just breaks the whole purpose. However, there is a negative downside. Players could actually set it to presidential vault and just get, like, I don't know, always 9,000 from the bank. But other than that, if you are able to change the bank floor, then that's good. But you can only do that if the bank is not under robbery, or if there's no one in the bank who is currently in the bank floor through a glitch. Now for jewelry store, it's the complete opposite, because there's no problems with the jewelry store. You should be able to set the floor if only your jewelry store is not under robbery. So that means if we go ahead and put set bank floor, we can put like any kind of bank floor we want. And also, I apologize for some weird spelling and grammar. So, sorry guys. So let me put in presidential vault. Now, of course, this is not real. So, of course, don't believe in this, all right? Please don't. So if I go ahead and put that in, and I go over to the bank, if it is the right bank floor, I don't think it is the right one, because presidential vault is rare. If I put in set bank floor to presidential vault, and I fly all the way to the bank, as you can see, guys, this is underwater, okay? But unfortunately, it won't work for me, so I don't know. Okay. Now, what about the jewelry store? I believe jewelry store has a total of 3 floors, or 6. I don't know, but you can put in set and then jewelry store floor, and you can put in like 1, 2, or 3, or random. So if I put in like, I don't know, 2. So if I put in 2, I don't know what numbers are each for the jewelry store floors, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be calculated when that was introduced. But if not, then we just don't know what they are, all right? So if I put in like 2, then this is what it looks like. As you can see, we got some pretty easy floors right here. You got like the door over here. And also there's nothing in the door but a laser. I don't know why, but okay. And yeah, so you only have like 2 floors to deal with, but other than that, yeah, it's okay. I mean, if that was added, well, it's gonna be a lifesaver for most people like me, but also kind of boring to use, but I guess it's something. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. By the way, not all the pre-existing commands will be updated in the near future because obviously same about CC do different stuff. So hopefully you guys understand. And as always, my name is Mr. Vince. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. And also, I do not have school today, so big F in the chat right there. But all right. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.